Is this thing on? It is. All right, welcome back to Layup Lines, the college basketball picks and recap show. I'm your host, DaRock, and we might have had some of the best games all season this past week. From Monday, to Wednesday here, so I'm going to be going through recapping those games as well as other notable results and kind of talking about here, as we get closer and closer to Selection Sunday, how these games are kind of affecting the bubble, who we might see come March. So if you're into college basketball content like this, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, check out all my other socials while you're down there, as well as comment, your takeaways from these games, and let's get into it. So we start here on Monday with, like what I said, might have been the game of the year. I was watching this one live on Twitch here on Monday nights. Like I said, start the show, you got to check me out, check out my socials if you want to be up to date and know when I'm streaming, stuff like that. So, 6th-ranked Iowa Cyclones beat the 2nd-ranked Houston Cougars 70-67 in a game where Iowa State came back. Like, this one was just back and forth. Both teams were just really throwing haymakers. Like, this one was a lot of fun to watch. Just the defense, the physicality, as well as just then the offensive ability, just the tough shot making from both sides to just, make this such a great game. Like you're seeing here, both teams led by as much as 10, and it kind of looked like Houston was pulling away a little bit in the second half, but then Iowa State, granted, maybe got a benefit of a whistle here where there was kind of a phantom kicked ball where the call was a kick ball, but like watching the replay and watching it live, it clearly was not a kick ball. So Iowa State, kind of got bailed out there offensively, goes on a bit of a run afterwards, and they end up winning this game. So got to shout out Nate Heisey off the bench, had 11 points, including the game winner, a no-dip catch-and-shoot three. It was a really impressive shot. I mean, he's been hooping. His family's been hooping. His sister Taylor's on the U.S. women's national team as well for hockey here. So, they're fighting for the gold medal here today against Canada. So got to shout him out, as well as then Joshua Jefferson had 12. He really early, I felt like, just kept going at Chris Sinak, and Houston just didn't have an answer for it. So impressive game from him. Blake Buchanan also had 10, hit some shots when he needed. Lipsy only had 9, but 8 rebounds and 4 assists. So overall, really impressive game. I thought Iowa State just as a team played really well. On the Houston side, they had Kingston Flemings go for 22. I mean, the kid's a dog. He's going to be probably a top 5 pick in the draft at this point. That's what I'm just kind of talking about with this tough shot making is, whenever they just kind of needed a basket, Houston seemed to be able to go to Kingston Flemings in this one, and he got it. Emmanuel Sharp had 16, same thing early on. He was hitting a lot of tough shots as well. As you've seen there, hits four threes in that one. Then Uzan also in double digits with 11, hitting 2 threes as well. So these are two of the top teams in the country. I mean, you're seeing it here. They're both ranked in the top 6. This one was hyped up to be a big game. It lived up to the billing, which is always fun to see. When that happens, I mean, I'm sure we're going to see these teams again in, a Big 12 tournament or a, maybe even March Madness, who knows. Is there just two very talented teams that I think both are really good candidates to go deep in March? I mean, I probably have Houston in my Final Four at this point. That's the thing, even though they lost this game, I don't know, just their fight was very impressive. Their tough shot making. And like I said, it's almost one of those games where just the Hilton magic, you could definitely tell was coming out in this one, where if these two teams played on a neutral site, I think Houston probably ends up winning this game. But that's beauty of college basketball. I play the games, at these home arenas with raucous crowds. So shout out Iowa State for getting this win. Then we move on here to Tuesday, where we had the number 1 Michigan Wolverines and the 7th-ranked Purdue Boilermakers. This is another one was supposed to be hyped up. Didn't live up to the billing as much just because Michigan just absolutely pounded Purdue in this one. Proved why they are this number 1 team in the country. Why they've only lost once all year. As you're seeing here, they led by as much as 20, and after Purdue kept it close early. Purdue, I thought, got off to a pretty hot start, but after that, Michigan really just kind of was the better team and just really dominated this game, where Purdue was just kind of playing from behind the whole time, and I just felt like it was another where they just didn't really have an answer for the bigs. Elliot Cadeau was the leading scorer with 17, but Ade Mara had 10 and 11. Morez Johnson had 12 and 11. So those two guys were really just dominating inside. Yaxel had 13 as well. Hits a couple threes. He didn't even have to do as much inside just because of how much Morez Johnson and Ade Mara were just were, like I said, there just really was not an answer for them. Plus, then you throw in LJ Kaysen and Trey McKinney with 13 apiece off the bench. Like, Michigan as a team shot the lights out. 53% from the field, 57% from three, because that's the thing. When you're dominating inside the way they were, it then just kind of let to these open threes for Michigan's, and they're knocking them down on this night as well. So Purdue battled hard, like did make it a game here in the second half. Not a game, but like made it respectable in the second half. Trey Kaufman-Renn went for 27 and 12, so like he was definitely their leader on this night. And Braden Smith had 20 as well. But other than like Fletcher Loyer going for 11, like Purdue just doesn't really have the depth, doesn't have the pieces to really compete with these top teams, in my opinion. Oscar Cluff got dominated in this one, only 4 points, 3 rebounds. Same thing, Jacobson, only 2 points, 3 rebounds off the bench. Like, Purdue just doesn't have, granted, a lot of times in March is to talk about the guards, but just whole team-wise, Purdue doesn't have the bigs to really be like a national championship contender, in my opinion. I still think they're going to be, a Sweet 16, maybe even an Elite 8 team, but I'm just really out on them at this point. Like, I think Michigan's the best team in the Big Ten by far, and then after that, I'm probably going like an Illinois or a Nebraska, which, I don't know, we'll get to some of those teams a little bit later here. So, shout out Michigan, really nice win in this one. Like I said, led for most of this game, led by as much as 20, just absolute dominant performance. Then a team that kind of got dominated the other way, the 16th ranked North Carolina Tar Heels lose 82-58 on the road at NC State. They trailed for pretty much the entirety of this game, and you could tell no Caleb Williams, no Henry Vasar. It is very much going to be a problem if those two guys are not playing for North Carolina. Their leaders were Zayden High and Jareen Stevenson with 13 points apiece and then 10 rebounds, 10 and 9 rebound-wise, but you can just tell like they're not as, skilled as those two other guys, as Vasar and Wilson. Like that, those two just aren't going to be able to fill in the same way. Where then the guards that end up struggling because you can kind of key in here on them more, make Stevenson and High be the ones that have to beat you. And yeah, North Carolina just really poor game from them. They shot 32% from the field, 15% from three. Where NC State on their side, really good game. Quadir Copeland's been playing really well lately. I shouted him out a couple weeks ago. Where he had a double-double without points. But then tonight he goes for 20 points with 6 rebounds, 7 assists. Then you have Matt Abel coming off the bench, scoring 19, hitting 5 of 7 from beyond the arc. Just absolute flamethrower. Could not miss in this one. Van Allen Lubin, I think it's funny, North Carolina was kind of dissing him, or maybe it was the other way around. I don't know. But Will Wade just being petty, playing him exactly 28 minutes because there's some quote about him playing 28 minutes. Goes for 12 points, 6 rebounds, 13 from Darion Williams as well. And yeah, it was just without Wilson and Vasar, I think this Carolina team's really going to struggle. You saw it here tonight, just getting absolutely dominated by NC State, a team that like had not been playing well. I talked about it in the preview show, like had lost 2 straight games where they got blown out by Louisville, gave away a game at home to Miami, and now to just kind of kill North Carolina the way they have in a rivalry game like this. Like, North Carolina is definitely NC State's biggest rival. Like, I know for Carolina it's Duke, but like for NC State, this is the game they circle on the calendar, and to just absolutely dominate it, it's really impressive, but also just very concerning for North Carolina. So move on in the ACC. Another kind of impressive result I can see here coming. SMU takes down the 21st Louisville Cardinals, 95-85. This is another one, high-scoring game, a lot of fun. As you're seeing here, SMU shot 58% from the floor and 47% from three. They just couldn't miss, as Jaron Pierre Jr. was their leader with 25 points in this one, and Boopie Miller as well, 23. I think that guard duo for the Mustangs here, granted, like I said, not a great defensive team. It's just kind of they shoot the lights out of the ball or are going to try to outscore you. Like, maybe they could go on a bit of a March run here, especially like getting revenge against a Louisville team that beat them the first time around. I thought Louisville was going to win this game, but SMU, like I said, they just kind of almost had the better guards on this night. Granted, Michael Brown still goes for 29 himself, had a really good game, but disappointing one from Isaac McNeely, only with 6, and then even Ryan Conwell only with 12, shooting 2 of 11 from beyond the arc, where like you just kind of almost tell Louisville just kind of chucking, trying to get back in this game, trying to keep pace here. Javon Havley also had 14 for the Cardinals with 9 rebounds. So I don't know. This is like a game, like I said, it was just very offensive. I mean, even Louisville, like they shoot 45% from the field and 38% from three. Like those aren't terrible splits by any means. So like just the offense and the scoring ability from both teams in this game, it was a lot of fun to watch. Do you want to shout out to Curry Washington as well? Went for 18, knocked down all 3 of his threes for SMU. So all sorts of guys like just kind of scoring at will, really being able to get theirs. I mean, SMU led by as much as 12, but it really did feel like a close game for most of this one. The splits here pretty even. I guess SMU did kind of dominate in the paint, 46-30 in points in the paint, where that kind of ends up being a little bit of the difference in this one. So, but that's the thing though, when SMU is shooting the ball as well as they are from beyond the arc, you kind of got to collapse on those shooters, and that's going to leave openings in the paint. So, shout out to SMU, really nice win here. They're now up to 7-6 in the ACC. Like I said, kind of a sleeper team here in the ACC that I think could go on a bit of a run. Then we go back to the Big Ten for another upset that we had here. The 9th-ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers, they fall 57-52 to their rivals, the Iowa Hawkeyes, where it's one I kind of saw coming. The projections had it being a close one. I think I did end up still picking Nebraska, but it's a game where Bennett Sturts just kind of took over. You're seeing here, he's the leader with 25 points in this one. Cooper Koch was the only other Hawkeye in double digits with 10. Tavion Banks did have 6 and 10 rebounds, but that's just kind of how Iowa plays, where Sturts can really just kind of take over these games and will them to a win. Granted, like I've talked about before, it is then kind of concerning where if he has an off night, who's going to step up for Iowa, then it's a bit more unpredictable here, and they can kind of struggle. But game like this, they played really well. We're knocking down their shots enough here. Granted, I guess Sturts did take 22 shots. They only shot 33%. From the field as a team, but I mean, they played good defense here, held Nebraska to 41% from the field. Nebraska's highest score was Price Sanford with 13. Like, no one was really else was getting it done for Nebraska. Jamarcus Lawrence laying at 11. Like, those are guys that are, can go for, 18, 19, 20 plus points per game. So to hold them to being their only 2 double-digit guys, really impressive. Renick Mass did have 8 points and 8 boards, but yeah, this is one where Iowa they definitely took over the game. Like you're seeing here, it was played in the 50s, like very, very slow game, which is kind of how Iowa likes to play. They also score 13 points off of turnovers to Nebraska's 3. Like, just being a very defensive team, slow playing team, stuff like that. Like when you're turning the ball over in a game with such few possessions, that can really end up being the difference. So shout out Iowa for getting the win there. And then one more upset to touch on here on Wednesday. Arizona State takes down Texas Tech, the 13th ranked team in the country, 72-67 behind 23 from Mo Odom. JT Toppin, the leader for Texas Tech in this game with 20, but he left late. And it turns out he tore his ACL. He's going to be out for the year. And for me, that really just kind of dashes any hope I have in this Texas Tech team. I mean, we saw it over the weekend. They beat Arizona, the number 1 team in the country at the time, at their barn. Like, the Toppin and Christian Anderson duo, like I thought that's a duo that can go deep in March. I mean, they were an Elite 8 team last year. They almost beat Florida in that Elite 8. I like to bring that up a lot, I know. And Anderson still has 18 in this game with 6 assists and 6 boards. But really what kind of just opens things up for him, I feel like, is that JT Toppin factor where teams have to kind of key in on him more, where then if Anderson's, hitting some tough shots, is doing a good job moving the ball around, he can have big games where I just don't really think there's anyone on this Texas Tech squad that can replace that, JT Toppin production. I mean, Lawan Watts and Jalen Petty are probably their next 2 best guys, and they only combined for 9 points. Like, Donovan Atwell did also have 12 in this game, hit 4 of 8 from beyond the arc, but as you're seeing here, they had 8 bench points. Like, Texas Tech is very reliant on their top guys, and for their top guy to go down, that's going to be a problem. So like I mentioned, Arizona State, they did get the win here, 72 points as a team, 23 from Mo Odom, 14 from Masamba Diop, and 13 from Santiago Truitt. Arizona State's like a team that's scrappy. They beat Oklahoma State a couple weeks ago. Like, it's kind of a tough place to play there in Tempe. Granted, both these teams were trying to give it away late. Like, Arizona State went on a run around, when Toppin left the game and never gave it back, but then they almost kind of tried to, just with some turnovers, missed free throws, stuff like that. However, Texas Tech missed some free throws that could have tied the game as well. But yeah, really tough loss here for the Red Raiders. Not as much on the scoreboard as just the loss of JT Toppin. So, like I said, I'm probably pretty low on this team now. I think they can maybe still be a Sweet 16 team, but the Final Four, even kind of national title aspirations that I had for them, and my guy Carter on CarterCast had for them, I would say is kind of out the window at this point. Then moving on to Wednesday, and this was another one where, like you said, game of the year. If you're not following me on the app Rate Game, get Rate Game, where you can drop your ratings on every game. I want to say Iowa State and Houston, I gave like a 9-7. This game was a 10. This game was a 10 out of 10. Alabama, 117-115, double overtime win against Arkansas. Two ranked teams here going at it, just absolutely trading buckets back and forth with LeBaron Philon and Darius Acuff. It was kind of what I talked about in the preview, was I kind of thought those two would have a bit of a duel here, and oh boy, did it live up to the hype even more than I could have imagined. 49 from Darius Acuff in this one. LeBaron Philon, the leader for Alabama, with 35. Like, those two guys both just could not miss, were just putting their teams on their back, and if it wasn't for a put-back dunk that Arkansas missed the end of double overtime, we would have had a third overtime in this one. Like, this one had shades of that UConn-Syracuse game a while ago, where those two teams were just going back at it. It went like 6 overtimes. Like, this, at times, that's what I thought this one was going to be the way it was. Granted, I had to miss the ending because I was at the St. John's Marquette game, but it was like watching on my phone, which is something I do not do often. Like, when I'm at a sporting event, I'm very locked into like what is going on. I'm trying to not be on my phone outside of like breaks in the action. Like, this game, like, I was full on watching on my phone because this was insane. Also got a shot, Malik Thomas going for 24. Billy Richmond had 20 as well. Like, those two guys, as well as Acuff, is kind of why I think me and a lot of people have like thoughts where we don't think Arkansas is a national title team, but like I always just kind of mention, it's really good guard play is what benefits you in March, and like those three guys, like as their go-to guards, Arkansas can maybe go on a bit of a run here. But Alabama, like I said, I got to talk about them. They are the team that ends up winning this game. I know Acuff gets a lot of headlines, scoring nearly 50. But yeah, LeBaron Philon with 35, 26 from Aiden Sherrill, as well as 15 from Aiden Holloway and 19 from Mari Allen. So a lot of different guys for Alabama scoring. I mean, you're seeing here the score was 57-47 at halftime. Like, that's an insanely high scoring first half of a game. Granted, that's just kind of how Alabama, especially, but both these teams really like to play is very fast. You know, get up and down the floor. So just really impressive comeback here from Alabama. Like I said, we're hitting tough shots, able to force, you know, this second overtime period here. Alabama only shot 34% from three, but made 27 of them. So, like, just pretty exceptional shooting there from beyond the arc. Like you're seeing here, not trailed, but, you know, Arkansas led for more of this game. So, a very impressive comeback win here for Alabama. Then next, the second game of that ESPN doubleheader here on Wednesday, Arizona gets back in the win column, 75-68 win over BYU, led by as much as 16. Really just dominated this one, in all honesty, and it's what they needed. Granted, A.J. DeBanza, like I mentioned in the preview, I thought he was still going to get his. He goes for 35 in this one, so really impressive game for him. But with no Richie Saunders and just kind of some of the other guys for BYU not playing as of great lately, Arizona's just a better team in this one. Anthony Del Orso ends up being their leader with 22 off the bench. Really impressive game for him, including 4 triples. So shooting 8 of 15. Really nice game for him. And that's the thing with this Arizona team is, as good as their starters are, I feel like they have guys like Del Orso that can come off the bench that are really solid. Because, I mean, Bradley and Burry's still also in double digits. They're starting guards with 12 and 11 respectively, plus 10 assists from Jaden Bradley in this one. Ivan Karchenkov also goes for 18 with 7 boards. So Arizona just very deep team here. I mean, that's like 5-6 guys I just listed off, including their leading scorer coming off the bench. So really impressive game for them. For BYU, once again, just similar story to a lot of these Big 12 games where I feel like they get dominated. They don't get off to a good start. They, in the second half, play well enough to make it look like it was close when just in all reality it wasn't. And as good as A.J. DeBanza is, I just don't really think he can. I don't think he's enough come March where this team's going to really go super deep. I mean, they might still win a game or two in the turn. I mean, it'd be very disappointing if they didn't at least win a game. But yeah, just seed-wise now, like they probably might be underdogs in their second game. So yeah, Rob Wright goes for 13, 10 from Kenner Davis, but other than that, no one else in double figures. Like this Richie Saunders loss for BYU, I think is really going to be very critical. You kind of saw it today, like Arizona's leading for 3/4 of this game. And yeah, just really nice win here for the Wildcats, proving that they're just kind of on a different tier than BYU. Kind of expected this result. Then Wednesday had its upsets as well, as the Creighton Blue Jays beat the number 5 UConn Huskies 91-84. And I got to pull this stat up. I retweeted it. UConn dominates the Big East. They've dominated just about every team here in this run of this last couple of years, except for Creighton. Dan Hurley's record versus the Big East. Every team he has a winning record except for Creighton. He's 4-10 against Creighton. And that's why, in the first time these two teams played, I ended up featuring the game being Creighton, they kind of give UConn fits. Maybe they could do it here with that, especially with that game being in Omaha. But then, after UConn, the way UConn dominated them, and then this game being in Stores, I was like, oh, okay, no shot. UConn should win this, and just ends up Creighton just seems to have the answer. They're led by Josh Dix, going for 21 points, including 3 threes. Nick Graves had 18 points with 2 triples of his own, and 14 from Fedor Zugic. So, as well as Blake Harper off the bench with 12, hitting 2 threes as well. And I mean, that's really what it was tonight. Creighton shoots 48% from beyond the arc. Going to be tough to beat a team when they're shooting that well, and 49% from the field as a whole. On the UConn side, Braden Mullins went for 25, but it took him 22 shots to get there. Does hit 6 threes, which is pretty impressive, plus 6 boards to go with that. Silas Demery had 17 points and 9 assists, and 15 from Terrace Reed Jr. as well as 12 rebounds. But like you said, it's just kind of the way Creighton was shooting, and that's kind of what it really seems to be the problem with this UConn team, is just they don't shoot well enough to, if a team gets hot, to really be able to kind of stick with them, and that's where then they can fall behind. I mean, they only shoot 44% in this game and 37% from beyond the arc, which isn't terrible, but they also get out-rebounded 41-35, so when they're not getting those second chance points, that's also, a bit of a problem for this UConn team. So, I don't know, because it's UConn, because they have that national championship pedigree, I'm not going to count them out for a Final Four run here by any means, but I don't know, just results like this, results like the St. John's game, they're now a full game, or half game behind St. John's, but they played one more game. Granted, the two teams do still meet one more time, but UConn heading into Big East play seemed hands down the best team in the Big East, and the fact they might not win the league, that's a little concerning for me, but we'll see if maybe, they turn it on here in a couple weeks. And then finally, the last game, we'll touch on another upset here. Missouri takes on the 19th ranked Vanderbilt Commodores 81-80. And this was one, I kind of thought it was going to be close. I thought, could maybe be a little bit of a sneaky trap game, having to play at Mizzou, a place where they've beat some top teams this year. I do think I ended up picking Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt almost came back and won this game. It was a crazy. They hit a 3 to make it, 81-80, and then Tyler Tanner stole the inbounds pass, chucked up a 3 from half court at the buzzer, and it just kind of rimmed out. So Vanderbilt did almost come back and get this win. As you see here, there's only one lead change in this game where, Missouri took the lead, about midway through the first half and then just kind of never gave it back. Like I said, did try to give it back there at the end, but they ended up hanging on, getting the win. Much needed win here for a team that's, right around that cut line. We'll see if a win like this can maybe get a win. Granted, Vanderbilt, you're seeing here, after being undefeated now, 8-5 in SEC play, so definitely have kind of fallen off, come back down to earth, but nice win here for Missouri. They're led by Jaden Stone, scoring 19 points, this one with 7 rebounds, also had 4 threes. Trent Pierce went for 16, as well as 16 from T.O. Barrett. Mark Mitchell also in double figures with 10 points and 9 assists, as well as then 13 from Anthony Robinson off the bench. So a lot of different guys kind of getting it done here for Missouri in this game. And another one where they shot really well from 3, shooting 50% from beyond the arc, 44% from the field. And it's just tough to beat teams when they shoot that well. On the Vanderbilt side, Tyler Tanner still goes for 27. Like I said, almost had 30, almost had that game winner. It would have been crazy, but just not able to get it to drop. Other for double digits for the Commodores, we had Devin McLaughlin with 13 and 7 boards, 11 for Tyler Nickel. And other than that, no one else was in double figures. O'Curry had 9. I don't know. This Vanderbilt team, like I said, I very much think they're just kind of coming back down to earth. You're seeing it here. It's a team that I would say the Sweet 16 is their ceiling. It was a fun story early in the year. Mark Byington is doing a nice job with this team. And, the Tylers and Tyler Tanner and Tyler Nickel, that is a fun guard duo that can win you some games in March. But like I said, I just don't think they're as talented as the other teams. I didn't think they were ever really a contender to win the SEC. As you're seeing here now, they're in fifth in the SEC. They're tied with Missouri and Texas A&M and Texas. All are 8-5, and Kentucky all 8-5. So they're a team that could definitely kind of slip here to more of the middle of the pack in the SEC. And then Missouri, like I said, nice win for them. They kind of keep stacking a couple big wins here. They've beaten Kentucky, they've beaten Florida. So if they can kind of keep this going, I think we're going to see the Tigers as a tournament team. So then just kind of going through here, the rest of the results from this week. The other big game on Monday was Duke, 101-64 win over Syracuse, behind 22 points from Cam Boozer. Just absolutely dominant effort from the Blue Devils at this point, and I know they never will, but just the fall off of Syracuse basketball is just very disappointing. I mean, like, you have Carmelo Anthony there in attendance watching his son Kean Anthony, and like, this was just really never a game. Like, Syracuse did start off well, but after Duke just kind of went on a run, they had like an 11-0 run to end the half or something like that. This one was just fully out, and like I said, they never will. I want to see Syracuse go back to the Big East. Like, can we please put them back in the Big East so their basketball program can be relevant again? I know because of football they're never going to, but like, they're not going to compete in the ACC. It's just very clear. And yeah, and also, I don't know, here's maybe another take I have that's a little bit weird. For as good as like these big Monday, like the Big 12 game is, get rid of the ACC game, and this is maybe, a bit of a two birds with one stone fix. And granted, we're late in the pod here. No one might be listening to this anymore. I feel like Big Monday should be on Peacock and have it go back to being like a Big 10 or Big 12 and then a Big East game. Or I'm sorry, a Big 10 or Big East and then a Big 12 game. Where, this Michigan-Purdue game is great, but it's on Peacock, a streaming service, on Tuesday when there's a million other games on. So unless you're a person like me who has multiple screens, like, you kind of have to choose between, am I going to go on Peacock or am I going to go flip back and forth between a bunch of games? Like, I think it would just make more sense. Just have like the top Peacock games be on Monday. Like, how much of a banger the doubleheader would have been of like Michigan, Purdue, and then Iowa State, Houston. I think that's kind of the simple fix there. And then, just have like ACC, like Duke Syracuse could have been like the 6 p.m. game on like Tuesday on ESPN2 for all I care. Like, Syracuse is just so bad. Please stop putting them on Big Monday. And that's my kind of rant there. Other results Monday, both Stephen F. Austin and McNeese get wins. McNeese 75-64 over Northwestern State, and Stephen F. Austin 78-68 over Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Those are two of the teams in the Southland kind of competing for the title there. A lot of good Southland games here on Mondays as well. So if you're not watching the big Monday game, that's kind of what I like to tune into. Then moving on here to Tuesday, Florida dominated South Carolina 76-62 behind 20 points from Alex Condon. Michigan State destroyed UCLA 82-59. Cohen Carr-Leader was 16 in that one. Mick Cronin, just all-time Mick Cronin, not really all-time, just like, excuse my language, whiny bitch Mick Cronin rant after this game, after a reporter, which, not the greatest question where he's asking him about like the student section, but then Mick Cronin just like, think I give a rat's ass about the opposing student section, and then like gets on the guy for like raising his voice. Like, I don't know, Mick Cronin was just kind of like rude to that guy, and I feel like it was very, very on the reporter to get upset at him. So I don't know if maybe Mick Cronin sees that he's kind of on the way out here at UCLA. It almost seems like he wants to be, just how much he complains. Granted, I know that is kind of his thing, but I don't know. It just really seems like Mick Cronin might be done at UCLA after this year. St. Louis, they suffer their first loss in A-10 play. Rhode Island knocks him off 81-76. Jonah Hilton went for 29 points. This is another game where, like, I want to say Hilton had 7 threes or something, like maybe even 9, where just Rhode Island could not miss from beyond the arc. It's why they end up pulling the upset there. St. Louis, big game against VCU this weekend, so we'll see how they respond. Miami, Ohio improves to 26-0. They beat UMass 86-77 behind 23 points from Peter Suter. Ohio State upsets Wisconsin 86-69, where Bruce Thornton had 27 in that one. Devin Royal had 25 as well. The Buckeyes finally get over the hump. I didn't see it coming, but they did. Where they get a win that, I don't know, maybe could get them in the tournament, but we will see. Villanova and Xavier was a fun one. The Wildcats won 92-89 in overtime. Asaden Lewis with 21 points. Trey Carroll, once again, 28 points for Xavier. That guy is so good, but he's just kind of stuck on a bad team this year, so got to feel for him a little bit. VCU knocks off George Washington 89-75 behind 15 from Tyrell Ward. Like I said, they play St. Louis in a big game that's now for first place in the A-10 on Friday night. Miami gets a 1-point win, 67-66 over Vodtech, with Trey Donaldson going for 32 in that one. Vatek just really can't seem to catch a break in these ACC games and win the ones that matter. Kansas State wins their first game of the post-Jerome Tang era, 90-74 behind 34 points from P.J. Haggerty. Georgia goes into Kentucky, knocks off the Wildcats 86-78 with Blue Kane going for 20 points in this one. Really impressive win there for the Bulldogs. And then late night, Grand Canyon pulls off the season sweep of San Diego State, the only year that both these two teams will be in the conference together. Jaden Henley goes for 21 in that one. And I don't know, Grand Canyon, like, they're going to have to win the Mountain West tournament to get in, but, like, they could be a bid stealer. That would not surprise me one bit. And then wrapping up here, games from Wednesday. Kansas goes into Oklahoma State, cruises 81-69 behind 23 points from Darren Peterson. Interesting what happens when he actually plays. Illinois knocks off USC 101-65. The game was never close. Andrei Stojakovic, leader with 22. Gonzaga wins, I want to say it was like their 4th or 23rd straight, something like that. They haven't lost to San Francisco since 2012. As Graham Ike goes for 22 points in the Bulldogs 80-59 win. Virginia destroys Georgia Tech 94-68. Tice DeRitter with 22. Virginia had like 57 points at halftime in this game, which is usually like a final score for Virginia a couple years ago, so very funny there. St. John's, close game with Marquette, 76-70. Like I said, I was at that one in person. Bryce Hopkins goes for 23 points. Much to the chagrin of the Marquette student section, I was chanting Duncan Powell at him every time he stepped to the line, which I thought was kind of interesting. Like, I don't know, I kind of think Bryce Hopkins obviously gets fouled hard. I think PR-wise, he won the battle there with Duncan Powell. But yeah, St. John's ends up squeaking that one out. Marquette fought hard, just didn't have enough late. Butler knocks off Georgetown 93-89 with 19 from Finley Bizjack. Valpo upsets Bradley 79-72, so that's kind of a big result there in the MVC. Another upset in the A10, Dayton goes into George Mason, wins 82-67 behind 22 points from Javon Bennett. George Mason kind of sliding here lately. Need to kind of get some wins as now VCU's passed them in the A10 standings, and Dayton and Joe's are right there on their tail. Wichita State and East Carolina was another fun one. That one went to double overtime where the Wheat Shockers got the win, 92-89 behind 27 points from TJ Williams. Wichita State kind of sneaky in there a little bit for the American race. UAB beats Temple 76-71. UAB hasn't lost on the road in conference play yet. They're almost like a better team on the road than home. Very interesting. Chance Westry, their leader, with 24 points in that one. Clemson got upset 85-77 at Wake Forest. Demon Deacons were led by 20 points from Juke Harris. Clemson kind of needs to flip it around here. Things aren't going super well for them as of late. Then in the Patriot League, I got to shout out Navy Midshipmen. They clinched their first outright Patriot League title since 2000, so they will have all the Patriot League games on their home floor. They win 72-49 against Lehigh behind 25 points from Austin Baghini. Other results here, Tennessee cruises against Oklahoma 89-66 behind 29 from Nate Ament. DePaul takes down Seton Hall 69-57 behind 21 points from NJ Benson. Nick Martinelli goes for 29, Northwestern 78-74 win over Maryland. Mississippi State goes into Auburn, takes down the Tigers 91-85 behind 46 points from Josh Hubbard. Like I said, kind of outshined by Darius Acuff on this night, but 46 from Hubbard. Very impressive. I mean, he's one of the more fun guys to watch here in college hoops. I really enjoy watching him play. Back to the Valley, Illinois State takes down Murray State 78-61 behind 22 from Tyreek Coleman. Them and Bradley play a big game on Saturday that I will be in attendance of. And then last couple late night ones, Utah State cruises against Boise 75-56 behind 17 from Mason Falslove, and Colorado State takes down UNLV 91-86 behind 20 from Jevin Munez. So that's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much once again for watching. If you're still here at this point in the video, I know I had a couple little rants there at the end during the score section, but I don't know. I got takes on college basketball I just kind of like to get off, and sometimes with the format of these shows, it's a little bit harder with, me just kind of talking about scores, talking about individual games, giving picks. So appreciate those of you who are still here and listen to that. Like I said, if you're a college basketball fan, this place for you, so make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment your takeaways from these games, as well as check out all my other socials. Like I said, I've been doing a lot of stuff on Twitter, like tweeting my games to watch, takeaways from the games. I shouted them out a little bit earlier, like I've been doing some stuff with Rate Game. Great app over there. My guy Nick hooked me up with a creator badge, so kind of nice to see someone finally recognizing my takes and my takeaways here in the in the college basketball space. So it's definitely been refreshing. Really, really appreciate him for doing that. So definitely check out that app. I'll link it down in the bio, as well as all my other socials. So yeah, like I said, just kind of make sure, check me out on all the other platforms, Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, posting college basketball content pretty much daily, outside of just YouTube and Spotify here with the pod. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.